jungle gym thing, and she's still not in bed. She's still not tired. The damn gymnastics crap is creating. I am Mr. Ready.
Call you Freddy. Freddy Ready.
Not quite
I don't think
Freddy,
anybody calls anybody that. Actually, it's pretty stupid.
but
But
maybe Froggy, but not quite Freddy.
yeah.
I'm ready to jump.
All right, we're good. Hello, friends and brothers. This is Justin Jones with my co-host Dennis Yates. We are here with Masonic Improvement. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
I'm doing really good, man.
I'm sorry.
What's up,
I'm
Devin?
stepping away from. I gotta grab some stuff real quick. I forgot,
It's all
but
good.
I'm still here. I'm here.
It's all good. I had a, I
We're
have
here
a,
because we're not all here.
I've got
What's
a
that?
question for you that
Ooh, I like
I've been
questions.
thinking about, and I'm asking because I know kind of what I think, but I don't know that I'm right. Um, and if you ever think you're the smartest man in the room, you're just messed up, right? Like we talked about this.
Yep, yep. I agree.
I saw,
That's what we're here for, is to help each other.
and I don't want to call. I'm trying to be general enough that like I'm not calling anybody out, right? But
Right.
I saw where there was a brother, and he had an accident, and the accident involved activities that are very dangerous, and I don't like you're prone to an accident at some point if you do it long enough, right? And he's asking for, like, I don't know if it was like a GoFundMe or anything, but asking for help. So here, I just share my thoughts, and I want to know what you think. Um, as
I think I
Masons,
know who you're talking. Go ahead.
as Masons, we're supposed to help each other out. We're supposed to have
Yep.
each other's backs. Um, but I also think there's a reason that we have like these high standards for entry, because we don't want to bring people in that are going to start just being a liability right off the bat. If
Right.
you are engaging in activities that are dangerous, right, on a day-to-day basis, I have an issue, me personally, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I have an issue with when that bites you in the butt and you turn around and ask people to help you out, because these are things that are completely um, avoidable if you choose not to do these things. Right? It's a decision you make every day. It's not like an
Right.
accident. It's not like something that accidentally happens to you. So it's like juggling chainsaws. Like if I was a Freemason and I juggle chainsaws and cut my arm off and be like, "Hey guys, juggle chainsaws, cut my arms off." Like, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, it for me it depends on it really depends on the activity, because we can sit at home and box ourselves in the name of safety, right?
Hmm.
I mean, just like going and if you float down the Guadalupe River, there's this one spot with these rocks that you can jump off on into the river, and I've actually done it several times. But someone jumped off and dove in and killed themselves once
Hmm.
because they hit a rock.
Yeah.
Pure accident. You know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have jumped off that rock. That person had the bad luck.
Hmm.
I I think if it were me that had hurt myself, broke my arm, broke my leg, or something on a rock or whatever, then it's just an accident. I mean, just to some degree, you gotta remember that you're still living life, and anything can happen. It depends on what the situation is. Like
I agree. I can agree with
I
that.
we know several brothers that ride motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, I had a brother in my lodge that was in a serious motorcycle accident. He was down for a long time, and we helped him out because that's important. You know, if somebody if somebody rides regularly, they're pretty good at it. The the opportunity for accident is less and less because they're pretty good at keeping themselves safe if they've ridden for any amount of time.
Yeah.
Now, if now that crosses the line once you go into enduro racing or going into the sport of doing those X game tricks and stuff like that, all bets are off, right? Because that's really putting yourself at risk, and that's not something that anybody else should carry the burden for. You should have insurance for that.
Well, why are we talking about motorcycles? What about motorcycles? Why are you talking about?
I'm just
as
saying
an example. Gotcha.
Yeah, as an example. I mean, there's different levels of risk in. If we were talking about somebody who rides to and from work or whatever, there's risk there. It's riskier than driving a car, but it's not abnormal. But if somebody is riding a motorcycle to do tricks like X game shit, then that is abnormal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would draw the line on if I helped one brother out versus another because they were, doing backflips on their dirt bike and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really depends on what the situation is.
I guess really ultimately, this is kind of my big. If they're a brother and they need help, really, we're obligated to help. I think, right?
Right.
There's that. But if you only
it starts at your lodge.
Yeah, I agree. But if you want to go to the motorcycle example, since you brought that up, like, I don't know anybody who rides motorcycles who hasn't had an accident. Like, I don't care how good you are, if you ride it long enough, you're going to have an accident.
Yeah, I've had several.
I didn't even know you rode motorcycles.
Maybe that's what's wrong with it. What?
I didn't know you ever rode motorcycles.
Oh, yeah, I did for years.
Yeah. So.
I rode dirt bikes, and then I also had a couple of street bikes.
Got you. So, I don't know. I was just curious what your thoughts were on that. Devin McLean in chat, he says, are y'all familiar with the Regius manuscript from the 1390s? It was so cool to see the shift from stonemason guilds to speculative over 300 plus years.
Yes, I am familiar.
Yeah. Yeah,
in fact, I have it saved on my computer.
Do you?
Somewhere. I'd have to find it. Oh, by the way, I'm on a new internet. We're going to see how that works out.
Oh, you switched over to something?
No, I have two.
Oh, you have two internets now. Wow.
Yeah, I have one for the house and then one for me.
Nice. Like your own exclusive, like dedicated?
Yeah, my own dedicated 100 megs.
Nice.
Different modem, different router, different service.
Yeah, look at you. I'm looking for a video since you brought up the Regius manuscript. And here it is. I'm going to post this in chat. So this is actually and some of y'all may have already been to it. This is it's another YouTube channel. It's called the Lore Lodge, and the creator is actually, he's a brother Freemason. I think he's in Pennsylvania, and most of his content it's not Masonic. It's not a Masonic YouTube channel. He's talking about like unsolved mysteries, missing 411. Just kind of dispelling just urban legends and stuff like that. But he recently did one about Freemasonry, and it's actually titled "Do Freemasons Really Worship Lucifer?" Which, let's be honest, on YouTube, that's hitting all the keywords, right? So that's a good.
Yeah, he did an AI
check
on that one for sure.
But I'm going to post that here because since you talked about the Regius manuscript, he does a very good, like from as early as we can tell to modern day, just kind of unpacking like where we came from kind of thing, as far as what we actually know. Like he doesn't go far into like the speculative stuff, but he talks about the Regius manuscript, and then there's another one I think is newer than that he talks about. But so I'll post that in chat, and I'll put it in the description also. So, oh, he did watch it. Okay, yeah, he did watch it. Yeah, yeah, he is a brother. Yeah, I think it's in Pennsylvania. But yeah, that's pretty interesting because I learned some stuff. So he was talking about the Regis manuscript and all that jazz. So yeah, it's very interesting. There,
Well, all that kind of stuff is cool. I mean, we ought to know a little bit about our history, anyways, before we start spouting off that we're Masons
yeah,
online.
yeah. Um, Really interesting guy, Skip Smith, a good friend of mine. When he starts talking about like Masonic history, he'll talk about like the Regis manuscript and stuff, but he's also pretty familiar with um, like some obscure facts about England and Ireland and things like that, and there are actually bridges that are older that are still standing that are older than the 1300s that have stones with the squaring compasses on them and stuff like that. So this whole lineage goes back way further than just what we have on paper. It's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, that's that's a true statement. And it wasn't just in England either. I mean, it was in Scotland, in France, in Russia,
Hmm.
in Germany. I mean, all the back in the day, a lot of the princes were into masonry, and a lot of the recognition that we got was because of that, really.
I agree. It was, yeah,
Because ultimately it was the aristocrats, right?
it was.
And so it at some point royalty was gonna get involved. But yeah, you can definitely research that and find it. And yeah, the Regis is just the first written document that we found. Other than that, in the Dark Ages.
Yeah, it's it's pretty interesting. Like once you really get into the nitty gritty. I I'm kind of the opinion. I guess since we're talking about this, right? That you had your operative Masonic, you had your operative lodges, and as far as like Freemasonry goes, it was not really at that time entirely different from most of your other professional guilds. You had modes of recognition. You had a patron saint that you followed. This was standard fare at the time. However, it got to a point where we started letting speculative masons in, and I think once we started letting
Are you saying we?
yeah, man, weren't you there?
I didn't come from the Stone Guilds. I'm sorry. I'm a speculative Freemason. I'm not going to attach myself to the Stone Guilds. I'm
Wow,
sorry,
wow,
because I am a speculative Mason.
wow.
That's what I joined. I didn't join anything that was, you know, had to do with stone
I
I
speculated
joined.
as
I
much.
joined what sprang. I joined what sprang from that.
So, well,
That's where they hid, so they wouldn't get persecuted.
who hid Dennis?
The Masons, the Freemasons.
I think I think that particularly in probably Scotland, maybe you had once we started. I say we as an organization, whatever that organization really technically was at the time. When we started letting speculative masons
Okay.
join, there was an incident that happened with a very large group where they became persecuted, but they were only persecuted primarily in like France, but also like some of the other countries nearby. What? What?
Nothing, honey.
There were
You're
several.
just saying. You're just saying persecuted in France because of the Templars being persecuted.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, really.
That's what. Yeah,
There
I'm
were.
talking about Freemasons, not necessarily Templars,
I know, I
because
know, I know, I know what you
that's
mean.
folklore.
It is folklore. I agree, but it's interesting. I'll just
And
say
for
that.
the reference out there in the world, folklore, meaning that where we tie ourselves to the Templars is kind of folklore. I
Yeah.
haven't really seen any grounded facts that prove that point that we're direct descendants of the.
Wow, that's no fun. That's no fun, Dennis.
I know, I just
But
ruined it for everybody, right?
you can say that like there is definite evidence that we did start allowing non-masons, like non-practicing Freemasons,
Right.
non-operative Masons into the organization. And
That
there
was
was
how, yeah, that was how it started.
and there
Yeah.
was also a trend where we started we got, I say we, but as an organization, we got further and further away from operative Masons, more into speculation, and then we started bringing in like the aristocratic people like that, and it became more of a not just aristocratic, but also the educated people, and it became more of
I would,
a what
I would say that they were part of that beginning.
the
It
aristocrats
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't after. I think they were a part of that beginning
could have
because
been.
they would have come into contact with the Masters of the Stone Guild for paying them to do the work. Right? They would have come into contact with those guys. So I think that it would have been the aristocrats originally
Mhm.
that did it,
Yeah,
and the more educated, not just aristocrats, but the more educated. I think that it from the very beginning they were there
yeah, I could
because
see
those
that.
are the ones who would have known the stonemasons, not just your regular Joe asking for knowledge, except
And
for working as a stonemason.
you're probably right because there is evidence early. I can't give you names, but there's evidence early on of like nobility, kind of given honorary positions around that same
Oh
time.
yeah,
So
Elias Ashmole but that was in the 1600s. Elias Ashmole, I mean, he's the prime example of an aristocrat that really uh, got involved to help society um, by attracting um, more aristocrats into the the into the craft
mhm.
so that they could get things done. I mean, that's he's well known for that.
There's a comment in chat. The question is, what does it mean? And I'm just going to read it like it says. What does it mean Masonic is not a secret society, but society of secrets? This part, I don't understand it totally. I'm not the person. Um, Basically, they're not trying to be disrespect to others. He's just trying to understand.
Well,
What are
that
your
would
thoughts
be
when you hear that?
that's a secret we can't talk about. Just kidding. Just kidding.
What are your thoughts?
You
The
go
whole,
ahead.
the
You go
whole,
first, and then I'll. And
the
I
whole,
won't. I won't try to prove you wrong this time.
the whole. We're not a. We're, the saying we're not a secret society. We're a society with secrets. I don't like it. I'll say this: you're on right now as you watch this. You're on a live stream with two people that are Freemasons discussing Freemasonry. The very fact that this is happening, the very fact you've heard of Freemasonry, means it is not a secret society. We have, I don't know where you live, but here in the United States, we have Masonic lodges in almost every town, usually in a prominent part of town, clearly labeled buildings, clearly labeled meeting times. If we consider ourselves a secret society, we are probably the worst secret society ever because we have we have Facebook pages and websites that tell you where and when we meet. We're not very good at keeping a secret about ourselves, so definitely not a secret society. The whole thing to say, well, we're a society with secrets. Well, of course we have secrets. Every organization has secrets. The Walmart board of directors, when they meet, they have secrets that they don't talk about. KFC has secret ingredients that go into the chicken, right? It's every organization has its secrets. So to be like, whoa, we're an organization. Yeah, duh, dude. Everyone has secrets. So um,
You have successfusly degraded us to
it's not
Colonel
degrading.
Sanders. Thank you.
Well, hold on a second. Let's not. That's
Now
some
I'm
good
going to have to
chicken.
grow out the white beard.
I'm just saying, like these people, are like, well, you guys have secrets. There's something up. Well, every organization has secrets, dude. There's
Yeah.
there's nothing. But this whole it's in we like it's some reason in Freemasonry we like these little catchphrases like to be one, ask one, and we're not a secret society, we're a society of secrets. I think it's because you can turn off your brain and not have to actually consider what people are asking you and just regurgitate something. And it's not. We do have secrets, and they're far deeper and more profound than the what is it 12 secret ingredients that go in the 12 herbs and spices that go on your chicken, right? However, it's not
Even though
secret.
wait, even though we do kind of have this facade
Mhm.
of those 12, secret ingredients, and we say, oh, this is our secret ingredients, but it really goes deeper than that if you actually do a little digging and do a little learning, try to educate yourself on it.
Mhm.
But a lot of the stuff you would not connect the dots unless you're a Mason.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, no, we're not supposed to share the handshakes. No, we're not supposed to talk about the rituals and stuff. Can you find it? Of course, it's there, right? It's not. I mean, I wouldn't even say that that's really the secret. The secrets really come. I'll say this, and we talked about this with like esoteric stuff before. The reason I think the real secrets are things that simply cannot be communicated; they have to be experienced, and so that's why a non Mason will never know the secrets of Freemasonry because you have to live it and study it and experience it yourself. And that's not to say,
Yeah.
and I also don't
And you
believe
have to want it. You can't
you have
just
to.
experience it. You have to want the full experience, or you won't ever dig into it and figure it out.
Yeah. Now, is that to say you can't have a similar experience by studying Kabbalah and Hermeticism and alchemy and all these other things on your own? Sure, but it's not Freemasonry. And the fraternalism and the rituals that are uniquely our own that are designed to help kind of peel back the veil on some of these things are unique to us.
Yeah,
So that's where
there's
the secrets lie.
for instance, there's a Rosicrucian group that you can join online, and the AMORC Rosicrucian group that you
Amorc.
can join online.
Omorc.
Yeah, that you
Amorc.
you can join online and get all these spiritual phrases and this and that about Rosicrucianism, and you can read plenty of books, but unless you become a member of one of the um, one of the private uh, Rosicrucian groups, then you're really just not going to understand it.
Yeah.
You're not going to understand what the purpose is of. You can learn the information and learn all about it. Get every bit of information that there is, but you're not going to truly understand the purpose
Hmm.
until you have that mentorship, that apprentice mentorship uh, scenario in your life.
I think Dennis explained it beautifully pretty recently. There's two things that you really have to get the full package as far as understanding Masonic secrets, and that is book time and road time, right? You
Yes,
don't have to you
yes.
don't have to join the fraternity, and you can dive in the books, but you're only getting half of it, right? Because you're not associated with other people that are doing the same thing. You're not associated with other people that are studying the rituals and reading and studying the same things you are. You're only getting half of it, and you can't do it all just by getting half. Likewise, you could.
Maybe not even half, because really it takes those conversations to
Yeah.
dig deeper to the truth. You
Well,
have to have that back and forth to be able to get down to the truth of it.
exactly. And well, it's like the other way. Like if I just travel around and associate with these people, but I don't read any of these books, I'm still getting only like I don't even know that's happened. I agree. It's like something. It's something magical that happens because you're getting maybe like 25% of everything. But then when you go and you do both, it all comes together. So you can't. I don't even think you can get 50% if you're just doing one of those things. So you
Right.
could say like you don't want to be a Freemason. I want to travel around and go to like esoteric conferences or something. Which I'm sure those are a thing.
They
Sure,
are.
you can go and you can listen to conversations, but if you're refusing to put your nose in a book, you're not getting anything out of it. So you have to do both, and that's really where I think Freemasonry shines. And there's other organizations. I'm just saying this is where I think Freemasonry shines. Because you get the experience of associating with other educated men, and we don't have like exclusive books or anything like that. But where do you start? Well, you don't really know until you start associating with people that have read those books, and they can say, well, this is probably where you should start. This is what you should read.
Right. Yeah, because if you're at home reading a book, you're going to understand only as much as what you've experienced in life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very narrow point of view. That's why you need multiple people to visit with. That's why I always tell everybody that my favorite time at any gathering that I have is after the events. We all sit around drinking scotch and talking about Freemasonry. That's why those are my favorite times, because it really takes that bouncing off of each other to understand and get to the root of the question, because all of our experiences leading up to this very moment are different, and we're all going to have just a little bit of a twist in how we feel about things. I mean, you see that with Justin and I all the time. We have this little bit of a difference. We're about as in sync as sync can get. If we were girls, we would be in sync, but but we have just a little bit of difference. That was a bad joke, wasn't it? But we have this little bit of a difference that helps us to bounce stuff off each other and really, hopefully, bring better content to you guys, and so that y'all get a better experience out of this. Because one person alone, you're only hearing a very narrow point of view.
Well, Dennis and I also associate with very different. We have mutual friends, but we associate in our daily travels with very different circles. So when we come together, we usually have very similar opinions, but our views are different because they are shaped by associating with different people on a day-to-day basis. So that's when we come together, and that's how I think we learn from each other, is because my experience is a little bit different than his, and we come together and discuss these things. It's like, oh, I haven't considered that. Well, of course you haven't considered that. You haven't been talking with Bradley Kohanke or something like I have every day. So you're gonna have a little different opinion.
Lies.
Oh, I was talking from your perspective.
Oh, okay. I was gonna...
Yeah,
Trevor... You need to talk about your circles, damn it. No, Brad is friends of both of ours. I just happen to, he's my first out of Blue Lodge mentor, and has really become one of my most dear and closest friends. And that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're both friends.
Yep. Devin McLean says application is everything. It must be experienced to transform oneself. Yeah. You can't just read a book and have like a life-changing experience from a book. Like, you can have books that really like change your opinion, your mindset or something for a few weeks maybe. But the actual experience is what makes a big difference. Hey, Cody Stewart's here. How you doing?
Hey, Cody. That's absolutely right. And you can tell who applies this stuff in a lodge setting. You can tell who applies the meanings of the ritual. Mm-hmm. You can tell. And you can also tell who studies and tries to understand better managerial aspects of the fraternity as well. I mean, you can sit in a lodge, and the guy that's always there that everybody looks at whenever there's a question, mm-hmm. you know that guy has internalized this stuff. And sometimes it's really good to be that guy. Sometimes it's really bad to be that guy.
Depends on what's going on.
Because sometimes you're the one that's helping in every situation, and then sometimes you have to drop the bomb and say, nope, you can't do that. You just got to stop. Just zip, 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 zip.
So I have a interesting, and I'm sure I know it for a fact it's similar in your district. I'm one of the go-tos for like the district deputies every year. Like they call and ask me. I've never even been a district deputy, and they call and ask me. But I know you have been, and you have the experience, and you're kind of the go-to guy in your district. But I feel like as a lodge, you have a secretary who has often been there for several years, and the worshipful master knows, like, hey, I should ask the secretary. They probably know how to do this. I feel as though the district instructor kind of fills that role in the district, because the district instructor has been on service teams for several years, and so I feel like that's natural, like for a district deputy to ask the district instructor, like, but it's interesting, right? When people call on you. Speaking of instruction and things like that,
our very own favorite committee on work member.
I do have a announcement, and I'll just share what it says. There's going to be a super forum on June 15th, this coming Saturday. Where's it going to be at, Cody?
I'll be at a super reunion in San Antonio.
Yeah. But it's going to be an all-day ritual forum from 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m., and there'll be no exam. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Oh, Arlington,
Cody, you're a badass. I just gotta say, you are a badass. I love you. I'm so glad that you are a committee on work member, because you bring it, and I'm so proud that you're part of our Grand Lodge team.
Yeah, he's
I'm
fantastic.
so proud of that.
But that will be in Arlington 438. So if you can make
Cody,
it's going to be great.
For you guys, go ahead and announce it again, because I was talking. Go ahead.
Okay. It'll be at Arlington 438 on June 15th, which is this coming Saturday. And it'll be a all-day ritual forum from 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m., and there'll be no exam. I've attended 2 forums this year, and I learn something every time I go. Even if that's just how Cody is. Cody's so knowledgeable. So even if you've gone, if you have some officers that you want to bring, or some new guys that you want to be sure that they're exposed to it, even if you've gone, come, because there's always something to learn.
Yeah, and Cody is the most genuine person I know. Well, not the most, but one of the most genuine. I had to say that because I know other genuine people too. But he is the most genuine committee on work member I've ever known. And he will tell you exactly what's right and exactly what's wrong. Don't get me wrong. He's not going to, tiptoe around a subject. He's going to let you know exactly what's right and exactly what's wrong. Mm-hmm. However, that's the guy you can hug at the end of that forum, and he's going to embrace it. He's my kind of guy. I'm a hugger. All of my buddies, when I see my friends, I hug them, and they hug me back.
I try, but it hurts my back to bend down that low, Dennis.
You know what? That is not even funny. But Cody is that kind of guy. I mean, he's just that genuine. He's passionate about what he does, and man, I love him to death. And he's also going to be one of the speakers at the symposium in Royce City on September 14th, which is just bad to the bone. We've got such a great lineup and such great brothers that are going to be talking there, and I'm so excited about it. I love it when I am excited to just sit there and watch. I love it when I feel that. When there's been some that I've gone to that's just like, yeah, this is cool, but there's several that I've been to that I'm just so excited to actually be able to watch and learn from these brothers. And so if you can get to Royce City, you need to. If you're in the Dallas area on September 14th, you need to be there. Don't be playing around. It's not that far. I drive 2 hours to go to San Antonio. Don't cry about mileage.
I'm excited about everybody that is. Normally when I go to an engagement, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but there's usually like 1 or 2 that I'm like really, really looking forward to hearing.
Right.
That's everybody at Royce City. Like everybody that's on the ballot is like, man, I really can't wait to hear what they have to say. It's the perfect storm. It really is. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be just as successful as the one in San Antonio was. I really do. Yeah. Cody said that they will cover all of the floor work plus reception of Grand Lodge officials, proper balloting, and opening a representation of the Grand Lodge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Opening the representation. So just so you guys know, whoever sits in the West, you better know what you're doing. You better have your game on. You better have been ready, and you better have been to at least one representation before, because that's the one. That's the person that works in that one.
Yeah.
Because he has to name all the Grand Lodge officers that are a part of Grand Lodge.
It's got his handful, that's for sure.
Yeah. And what order? I always get confused on what the order is. The first 5, that's easy. It's just like a lodge. But the other 2 or 3 is what gets me.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Normally they'll come in with like a little slip, but you shouldn't rely on that. You should be knowledgeable, able to do that.
Speaking of,
go ahead.
I had a roller coaster of a day at Blessing Lodge yesterday.
Where?
For their 150th anniversary. Blessing Lodge in Blessing, Texas.
Okay. What happened?
And I was appointed the official grand photographer during that situation. But then at the end, I was demoted back to regular Master Mason.
Wow.
So
But they gave you blessings for a little bit.
Every picture had a blessing, because that's what I would say. A blessing.
I could never do it. It'd just be selfie with me and whoever's in the background. Like,
What's funny is that we were doing the last picture in the lodge, and I took a picture, and one of the brothers said, "Hey, you need to be in the picture." And the Grandmaster said, "He can do a selfie. He knows what he's doing." And that's what I did. I just did a picture with the whole group with me as a selfie, and that was awesome. That was a great day, and everybody had a great time. It was a good time of fellowship.
Man, now you gotta be curious where Blessing is. Is it spelled like it sounds, like blessing?
Yeah, Blessing. Yeah,
Blessing, Texas.
It's down in South Texas. It's in between Goliad and Velocious, maybe.
See, there's Matagorda, Bay City.
Yeah, it's kind of in between. Yeah, Bay City's the next kind of big town over.
Wow, where is this? I'm just trying to. There's Matagorda Island south of it. Man, there's Victoria. Okay. I see where it's at now.
Yeah, it's about an hour and 15 minutes from me.
Man, that's cool though. I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, it's an old building, and they've been in the same building since they started too. In fact, that building during Hurricane Katrina, the building shifted off of its foundation, and they still met there. Wow! And then moved it back onto its foundation. But they just remodeled it all, and it looks beautiful. I can't wait to share the pictures. I'm trying to get them all proper to show before I do, though. Kind of clean them up a little bit. But yeah,
so the lodge shifted on its foundation and they moved it back.
Yeah, that happens with hurricanes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Tornadoes rip the roof off. Hurricanes will go
shift the whole thing. Huh? Yeah. That's interesting. I was just thinking, like, when you have lodges that move and stuff, that's interesting to me. Not like what you're talking about necessarily, but I think of like Chalk Mountain, but also Salado. You went to Salado and talked, right?
Yes.
So they have they used to be like the second story at the church, and they just moved the whole story.
They took it off. They took the second story off. Because I can't remember what the argument was. It was something about, oh man, it was because of an argument. It was like I'll show you, and they just went and took the whole top off, and there was a problem with the relationship between the church and them or something like that. They said, oh well, okay, we gone.
Just wake up one night, the whole top floor is gone. Yeah.
Bye, Felicia.
We got some guys in the comments talking about. I'm gonna actually just scroll up here and see because
Yeah, do it.
someone's talking about ADD and things like that, which I can relate to. So I'm trying to find out where it started. Um, so Devin says he has to put some effort into, I guess, like talking with people and things, because he's autistic and awkward. He feels like it puts people off from having giving him a chance. And then Trevor's like, also I'm ADD, which is it's good for memorization, but so I'm I'm ADD, like bad ADD. I don't even, I haven't even taken I grew up taking Ritalin, and then I haven't taken that in like 20 years. But my point is, like I can relate. I had to learn how to interact with people, like
People,
in
please
a normal
subscribe to
way.
our channel and pay for membership so that we can afford Ritalin.
I
That would
don't
help
like
us
it.
greatly.
I don't like it. That's the thing. I don't like any of that stuff. Rital's basically just it's basically just a hardcore drug. No, I don't like any of that stuff. But I had to learn how to function and actually talk to people and look at people when I'm talking and things like that. It's still a little bit of trouble sometimes, but I agree. And ADD helps and hinders as far as learning. At least it did for me. Once I learned it, I learned it. But staying focused long enough to learn it, that was a bit of a trick.
I
Jason, oh, go ahead. What?
I think I may be, kind of ADD, not diagnosed, because I have projects all over the place that I have not finished. Well, I will finish all of them, but I have so many things going on at the same time all the time
Mm,
that it's always this and then this and then this and then this and this. That's just the way I work. I can't. I have a hard time um, following through with anything in the same time frame.
mm,
I usually have to jump off of it, do something else, and then come back to it. And it's kind of because it when I jump off of it, I have time for it to resonate in my mind, and then I come back to it and I can finish it strong.
yeah.
That I do that with speeches all the time. When I'm writing a lecture or whatever, I will write one in 2 hours. I'm not joking. I can write 15 pages in 2 hours.
Mm-hmm,
You think I talk a lot, and I type with these fingers right here.
mm-hmm,
So I'm just zipping through it. But then I let it resonate. It's never completed. I let it resonate, and then I go back to finish it up because I know that I get things. I put this place where it should be up here with this thing, and this thing where it should be down here with this thing. I do that pretty badly when I'm
mm-hmm.
writing.
I have a few small projects that I haven't finished, but I don't have a lot. I think I'm more kind of the opposite of what you're talking about. Is that I hyper focus on things, like super hyper focus until it's done. Um, Most of the time, like I said, I got some small projects, but if you distract me, like if I'm hyper focused and someone comes in and tries to talk to me or something, it just derails me, and I get frustrated because it takes me probably like 5 minutes to like get my train of thought going and start again. So I don't like getting derailed and stuff. But
Right.
like what you're describing,
Well,
it
well, I
sounds like it
hyper
could be.
focus too, but then I have to walk away. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do that too. I just have to walk away though,
yeah.
because I go down a rabbit hole I shouldn't go down, and then I realize it when I step away.
I'll do that too. I'll work for like an hour or two, and then I might be stumped, or I just walk away from it. It's like sometimes I just gotta let kind of things set, and then I'll come back to it and work on it. And I'll have like an idea, but like, yeah, I really should just do it this way. I really just need to go and do it this way, and I'll go back and fix it. Jason the Freemason on chat says, out of curiosity, how long did it take y'all to go from EA initiation to Master Mason proficiency? I've heard some of the old timers doing it in 3 months, which seems quick to absorb all that light. And Cody says, Jason, it took me about 10 months, most of which was trying to find an instructor who could work with his schedule. It depends on
Yeah,
depends.
go ahead.
It depends on the person. I'll just tell you the facts, and then I'll give you the opinions in a minute. But it's not unheard of. I don't know about 3 months. That seems a bit excessive. I don't even know if legally you can do it in 3 months, but maybe back in the day you could. But
Yeah, you can.
Can you do it legally in 3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could. But like you say, you can't learn anything. We say we're going to take good men and make them better. You memorizing a bunch of stuff and never internalizing it, it's not going to make you a better person. Especially if you're not going to internalize it, because you're just going to forget it. You're going to dump it. Something that I say a lot is you gotta slow it down. You gotta take this process and really be intentional.
Not just you say it. Cody Stewart says it too.
Yeah, Cody Stewart says it too. You gotta slow the process down. But you're right. Cody also says the biggest disservice we do the guys when they're learning the trial lectures is that we rush them through it. We only help them memorize the stuff. Very few instructors today actually teach Masonry during the time they're working with new brothers. The result is that the candidate is made a master Mason without mastering anything. Absolutely. And it exists for a reason. The whole process exists for a reason. And it's not meant just to be, it's just like the opening and closing. It's not meant just to be just rush through like a bull, just charging through it. Let's just get through this so we can wrap up and go home, that kind of thing. There's a reason for it. It's intentional. So the questions and answers, they serve a purpose, right? Granted, we have a lot more than most jurisdictions, but they're still there and they still serve a purpose. Same thing in the ritual. Like I've heard lodges where when their gaveling sounds like a chain gun, like bam 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 bam. You know, that's if you're going that fast, if you really,
that's improper.
It is. If you're that much of a rush to get done, I feel bad for the people that took the time to come there, because all you want to do is get to the business part of the meeting. You don't want to actually internalize or reflect or do anything, which is what the ritual is supposed to do. It's supposed to get you in the mindset to actually grow.
Yeah, the other day with our education night, as a matter of fact, we taught that, and taught that you're supposed to take your time with each gavel, and that's one of the reasons why it's recommended from the Committee on Work to set the gavel down in between knocks so that it will take you longer to do it. You won't just rush through it and then be off rhythm and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing worse than being off rhythm. It's supposed to be equilateral. So when you're doing it, it should be in a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah. It took me over a year, but that was kind of my own fault. I say it was my own fault, but my instructor gave me a very long leash. He didn't really push me at all, which I guess is what you're supposed to do as an instructor. But me, if I'm teaching somebody something, then I tell them when and where they got to be, where they got to be. I don't do this, whenever it's your time, whenever it's convenient for you. Otherwise, it'll never be convenient, right? Mm-hmm. That's what happened with me.
If you give them an out, they'll pick an out.
Right. And I've always got something going on that I can do something different than what I should be doing, right? And so I need somebody to tell me this is when it happens. This is when it's going to get done. And I'm the same way. If somebody wants me to teach them something, then I'm going to tell you, okay, my schedule is this, and this. That's when I expect you there, because I don't have a lot of time to spare. When I have time, I have time. And me, I actually had to get the extra time at the end of the year. But after that, I went through it. It was less than 3 months. I just went pump, pump, pump. But when I did it, I also did both the questions and answers in all of it, because I had a hard time at that time speaking in front of people. In fact, I closed my eyes. I sat there and closed my eyes and did it, because I have a hard time. I had a hard time doing it at that time.
I do that a lot, but I'm going to try to. I'm not one of those. I know there's some brothers that know the work so well that you can drop like a line from any degree at any time, and they can finish it for you, right? I can't do that. I have to. I was like, okay, what degree are we talking about? I gotta close my eyes, and I gotta kind of like start a few sentences and work my way through it, because I have to actually I have to actually say it. Like I don't have it. So my memorization is weird. It's more like a muscle memory, I think, because if you get it wrong, it might sound wrong, but I have to say it to myself, right? So I'll close my eyes, I kind of like shut everything out, and I'll say it to myself. It's like that's what sounds right, and maybe that's what everybody does. They just do it faster, but yeah. So I know that, especially like at the forums, they have some of the brothers there. They'll catch it immediately, and they're like, "No, that's not right." But plus, I guess my ADD kicks in, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a second, that didn't sound right." I wasn't like laser focused on what they were saying either.
Right. What's interesting though is that now that I've been a Mason for 10 years, which this is my anniversary, by the way.
Happy
This
anniversary! What today?
this month, this month,
Happy anniversary!
actually the 23rd. But now I do believe that we do it way too fast, even with what I did. I really appreciate the things that other jurisdictions do, where it takes a year between each one.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that because it really gives you an opportunity to spend time learning about it while you learn it. So you do one and then you have an opportunity to do the other. I feel a bit hypocritical when I do that, when I say that though, because yeah, it's easy for me to say now that I'm a master mason, right? But I think that there's so much more to the journey than just spouting off words.
We're
It's good to know them. It's good to know the ritual, and it's good to know your forward. But I think there's a lot more to the journey than just that.
we're such an instant gratification society that we assume that if people don't get things fast enough, they'll lose interest, right? And
Right.
there's things that, sure, if I'm creating a video, I have to be sure I'm catching their interest quickly, right? But there are also things that we assume that it has to be quick, and it's not the case. And we're talking about this now. We're talking about the degrees now. The whole petitioning process. If you make that fast and cheap and easy, then people will discard it like it's fast and cheap and easy.
Right.
But if you make it intentional and slow it down, and there's a process to it, it takes time, then people will actually treat it like it's something special. Because it took me a while to get this petition. It took me a while to go through the degrees. And it's going to have way more meaning to that person.
Well, and it's gonna be better from the lodge as well. Kind of like that one we talked about not too long ago, the new EA that we got in Oso. We had him wait. He waited 4 or 5 months, I guess. Um, and we finally gave him the petition, and we finally investigated him, all that kind of stuff. And so when we agreed that he was going to get the degrees, one of the brothers said immediately, "Well, we need to do this right away. He's been waiting so long. We need to do this." And it's like, whoa, 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 man. No, that's not what we need to do. What we need to do is take our time. He's waited this long. He's going to be just fine waiting a couple more weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get ourselves right. And because we did that, it was more meaningful for the lodge itself giving it to him. And we made sure and gave him an excellent, excellent degree. And I'm very proud of what we did with this particular person, and he's a good person. He's going to really get into it. But I think that we actually did it right on this one. I feel like we really did it right on this one. And another cool thing, fun fact, is that the entire degree team was next gen.
Nice.
Can you believe that? That was awesome.
Well, I can believe it, but yeah. Um,
It's almost hard to believe though in today's age, right? Because there's so many people that don't, you know, study enough afterwards to be able to do it. It's a lot of the old timers that are still doing all the work because the young guys think they're too busy with it.
I was looking up some statistics as we were talking here. And it's college, right? But looking at bachelor degrees, that's 4 years, right? Most people that are going to drop out of college, can you guess when they probably do it?
In their freshman year.
Yeah, within their first year. And if they make it through their first year, they're going to stick around, and they have a higher probability of getting their bachelor's. They're going to see it to the
vested.
end. Yeah, they're invested, exactly. And so
they're mentally invested. Yeah,
and that's where I'm going with this is if you condense it all within that 1 year period when most people are likely to leave, they don't get anything out of it. But people that have to take time, and granted, college is also expensive, so they're also financially invested. But these people, if they don't dip out after the first year, they're highly likely to follow through. And I think there's something to learn from that as an organization too. Like there are countless lodges. Like if you treat it all like an experiment, there are countless lodges that have applied this factory approach, this automation, this conveyor belt Freemasonry, and
right.
The evidence is there. There's not really any evidence that this is a beneficial way of running a lodge. And so if you look at the lodges that are doing things another way and we've talked about these lodges, they've slowed things down. They have actual processes. They insist on their value. And I think that's important because I think a lot of lodges are afraid to insist on their value. They don't want to feel like they're burdening anybody or anything like that. But the lodges that say, this is what we offer Freemasonry, nowhere else in town can offer this. We need to be sure that we are being intentional in all of our processes and being proud of what we do. And if that bar is too high for somebody, that's fine, but we're not going to lower it for them. Those lodges are the ones those are the premier lodges across the state and across the country that are being successful.
Right. Sorry, I'm looking at something here. Sorry. I started getting choppy, and I don't know why.
Oh, I hadn't noticed it on my end. Maybe it's because, I didn't notice it, but you weren't talking. Francis Jennings says the prospects definitely need to attend public charity events and put in some work to help build up that faith and hope. I would say any event that the lodge is holding, regardless of if you want to call it charity or not, the prospects need to be there.
I don't care if it's charity. I think that they should just be a part of the lodge.
Yeah, and not just events, but whenever your lodge meets with your meetings, whenever they meet to have their meals, you need to have your prospects in there. They need to be associating with the brothers, because if they can't get along with them during this time, then they need to look at another lodge. Like if you can't get along with the people we already have, or if you're just starting to come across as really strange to these guys, they need to see this because they're going to be the ones voting.
Cody was asking me what next gen was.
He
sent me a message, said, "What's next gen?" Newer than Boomer, baby.
Nice.
Oh man, that was a nice way of saying it. Now you got me. Now you got me saying it. Now the world's gonna hate me.
Been trying to be so careful.
That's funny.
Yeah. Cool, man.
But yeah, that's I agree with what you're saying.
Better.
So yeah, because you're next gen. You're next gen to me. Oh my God, that's scary.
Yeah,
so what other
your
questions
ex.
do we have on?
Jason the Freemason says, it just rolls off the tongue. Says, I was fortunate to have 2 great instructors who explained the work to him well, but he wishes he could go through it all over again. He misses the nervous Monday nights being in the hot seat. Yeah. Hey, if you're missing,
us on our toes.
If you missed the process, just go through Scottish Rite or something, man.
Right.
It's a different experience, but
now that's a process.
It is a process.
Yes, and it's an awesome experience. I mean, it's totally different from the Blue Lodge experience.
Devin,
if you're lucky, then you get a Scottish Rite Valley that's really. Well, I think that in every Scottish Rite Valley there are the brothers that are the deep thinkers. That's where a lot of them reside, is in the Scottish Rite. So if you're lucky, then you'll be in one of the valleys that's known for it, like San Antonio, like Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Houston's pretty known for it. I know several brothers down there that's sharp as a fiddle, fit as a fiddle.
I think most of them here in Texas, most of them have pretty good reputations.
Yeah.
As far as being able to deliver and everything like that. So
yeah,
depends on where you're at. Your Scottish Rite is probably good. Devin McLean says, old is a state of mind, though your back and joints might tell you otherwise. And
tell me.
Cody says he agrees. His birth certificate says he's in his 50s. His joints tell him that he fought in the Civil War. And his sense of humor suggests that he's 12. So that's why we get along. That explains it.
That's exactly right. That's why we love you. Oh my gosh, and that's exactly how I feel. I still have that part of me that says, "Man, you can still do that ollie on that skateboard." And then there's that part of me when I start to get on that skateboard, my joint pops, and it's like, "Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll back off of that instead."
We went to a creek with the kids and everything today, and last time I went was probably like early 30s. I'll be 41 on this Friday, so it's been about 10 years, right? I used to go down and like we've had no problem, and so we're coming up to the creek today. And I was like, this hill was not this steep.
It's a lot steeper than it used to be.
Yeah,
erosion is a bitch.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, I blame erosion on that. And so the whole time I was like, man, this is. And
then you hope to God there's no loose gravel that you're going to slide your ass all the way down. Yes. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I have the same concerns when I go to things like that. And we're talking about going to the water park next week and next weekend. Mm-hmm. And man, I'm just afraid that I'm going to blind everybody with my luminescent. I'm going to look like that. What's that? Dang it! The vampire series where he says he's going to kill himself. He's at that church and he starts illuminating.
Twilight.
Yes.
Well, you've seen more than I have, apparently.
Right. Well, it's like the third or fourth one. I don't know. But anyways, he says he's going to kill himself, and he takes off his clothes, and he just starts sparkling, and he looks opaque, like an opal. He glitters in the light like an opal. That's the way my skin is.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, they're talking about camping. And the last time I went camping, like real camping, I was probably like 25, and I slept in a tent, and I felt like crap.
That's the only way to camp.
That's no way to camp. I felt like crap at 25 for
I
about
grew
a
up
week.
doing that.
And so I just can't imagine doing that now in my 40s. I remember very vividly how crappy I felt sleeping on the cold, hard ground in the tent for days. And so I couldn't even imagine.
Well, I can afford a cabin, so I'm going to do that. I'm not going to, yeah.
No, we're going to do
it.
We're doing an RV, but I was just thinking, I was afraid she was going to want to do like a tent or something. It's like, that is absolutely like a terrible idea. We're not doing anything like that.
Me and the boys used to do that every year at, when was that? It was the last day of summer. What is that? Labor Day or Memorial Day?
I'm not sure. The last day of
right
summer,
before September.
probably Labor Day, because Memorial Day is.
Every freaking year it rains on that day up in Dallas.
Mm.
And so every year we would go camping, and every year we would end up in one of the shelters in the park, because the lightning and thunderstorms got so bad we thought we were going to die. But that was just the coolest experience. And sometimes we'd be in the truck all the rest of the camping trip, whatever. But that was yeah, I used to do that all the time with the boys.
Yeah,
I still have all this stuff. Yeah, I know they remember it too.
It's a fancy way of calling it trauma, but yeah.
And their mom remembers, being able to sit at home with a book for the first time in a whole year. Just reading a book. That's funny. There's a couple of times we did have to come home. It was so bad. Man. And every time we would come home and she'd be on the couch just reading the book.
I remember, not Masonic, but it's just funny. When I was a little kid, I used to go fishing with my dad and my granddad. And we went, it was the only time I think we ever went, but it was this one tank, like a stock tank, a few miles south of town. And we were there fishing. And granted, this was like before you had weather.com or anything like that. Even if you had the weather on TV, they didn't know what they were like. It was guesswork.
Yeah, they were going based off of the Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah, and so we were sitting there, and like it came out of nowhere. Like these clouds just came out of nowhere. We're trying to drive home, and like there was like a tornado off to the, like you could see a tornado, and like all the lights were off of town, and we got home and like got under the covers and everything. And so it was just, yeah, dude, it was totally different.
We used to go fishing every weekend. That's why I don't have any issues with tents, because I grew up that every weekend we would go to Lake Texoma, and we would go crappie fishing at night and first thing in the morning, and then towards midday we'd go trolling for striper. So I grew up doing that every weekend as a kid from 3 years old until I was about 12. That was our every weekend. Yeah, that's why I love to fish.
Yeah. I don't have the patience for it, but I enjoyed it as a kid, just hanging out with my dad and my granddad.
Because you're not catching anything.
I'm not. That's
if
exactly
you know how to
right.
fish, you catch things, and it's not so boring.
Well, it's
pretty exciting.
It's the same mentality. Like I like the idea of golf. I like the idea of bowling. But if I'm not doing well, then I'm not interested in doing it. And normally with golf, I'm not interested at all. Bowling, sometimes I'm just in the zone and I'm happy to. It's like, man, this is fun. Why don't I do it again? And then I go bowl again. It's like, oh, I remember now. I suck at this. So if I'm doing well, I enjoy it. But otherwise,
such a millennial.
I know.
If I'm doing well, it's not the challenge I like. It's the win.
Exactly.
That's all I like.
I like to feel superior to everybody.
It's not the self-improvement that I enjoy.
What self-improvement do you get out of golf?
You sound like some of the Masons I've met over time. Whoops! I just got myself in trouble again.
Wow.
I know, right?
You stay in trouble.
Yeah, but there's always those few, and then there's always the few like me that want to shut their mouth when it's time to shut their mouth.
Question: how do you know when you finished a paper or a lecture, or when to keep adding to it? I'll tell you how I do it.
That's a tough one.
I have an idea of how long I want to talk. And then I'd be sure that I'm within that time range, and that I am absolutely sure that I get across the most important concepts I want to get across. That's how I do it. And once I have it wrote, I'll go over it a few times, and if I'm within that time frame, then that's how I know. It's easy to keep adding to it. When you keep adding to it, that's what's called a book. And so that's good.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I have several papers that I started as one, and it ended up being 4 or 5, and they're all going into the book. But my cutoff is 15 pages. I use 14 font, 15 pages. That's about 30 to 45 minutes tops in a lecture. But that's what I do.
Yeah. And I think your mileage may vary depending on how. I think that's good. but depending on how fast you talk, and so that's why it's important to go over it several times and kind of be mindful of your pacing. Because if you're,
Yeah, I know my pace. That's why I know that I can do 15.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
You're right.
and
And what I always do at the beginning for the ones that I do presentations for, I usually have like bullet points of my talking points first, and then I go into describing why. I give the content that um, oh my gosh, the content that brings that topic to life. So I'll hit those bullet points, and then I bring it to life within the paper.
And Cody said something similar too. He does the
sometimes
bullet points.
sometimes it does end up being more, but usually I just try to stay focused on what I'm writing.
Yeah, and the outline's probably a good way to do it. I need to try that. I just start writing, but the outlines, I've done them before, and those are good. But he also
mine aren't actually outlines though. Mine is like I'll have this first this question or this is what I'm going to relate to you, and then I have these different, just a few bullet points. I don't have an outline. I just have a few bullet points on how I'm going to express that to you, and then I expand. That's all I do.
The most experience I have, it's not bullet points like you're talking about. It's answering questions. Like, what questions do I want to be sure that I'm answering? And that's kind of my approach. Like, when I'm typing something, like, I don't know. Like, I wrote one some time ago about the cardinal virtues, right? And so I was like, what I don't remember what it was, but the question was aligned like that. Well, what are the cardinal virtues and where do they come from? And so I also was like, what are the theological virtues and where do they come from? And so I wrote a paper that answered those questions. And once I had that, I went back, went over it a few times. What needs lengthened? What could be fleshed out more? And you go from there. Because sometimes you'll write it all out, and then as you talk about it, you were like, oh, I really only talked about faith for like 2 minutes. So you might go into that some more, right? And so there's several different ways to do it. Me personally, I think the best way is just to start, right? Because you'll never accomplish any papers unless you just start. And so just write it out. Cody says it's hard for him to find a stopping point, and I agree.
I'm the same way.
My papers always end oddly. I'm like, that's all, folks. Thanks. So,
mine are always ended. The last paragraph of mine is the call to action. Mm-hmm. So I explain all my points that I want to bring to it, but this whole paper is explaining, and then at the end, the reason for the call to action. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what every paper I have is a call to action.
Yeah.
In fact, Cody, I've got one that I just wrote. It's not a paper. It's an edition for our newsletter at Goliad. We've started a newsletter, and so I've got a segment called the White Rabbit, and I'm going to send you the newsletter. And the White Rabbit is the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland.
I figured that's where you're going with that.
Because he's a traveler, and he takes you down a rabbit hole, and a lot of people don't realize it, but that's a Hermetic movie. All in all, as above, so below. You have the positive up top, and once you go down the rabbit hole, it's all the anti whatever it is, or all the opposites.
That's
of
interesting.
What's in the real life. Yeah,
as trippy as that story is, that would make sense.
Yeah, that's why I really love that last version with Johnny Depp in it, because it really did bring that to life. The fact that it was as above, so below. because you could tell in the wretchedness of all the creatures on the underside versus all the people and what they represent on the top side.
Oh dang! Now I gotta rewatch it.
Yeah, you'll see it in a whole different light, and then you start trying to piece together. What are these other principles that they're you're learning about in this movie? It's pretty cool, but that's one of the reasons, and also um, the purity of the white, the purity of the rabbit,
Hmm.
and also meaning the white light or Keter of Kabbalah, which is the crown Sephiroth of the upper um, three Sephiroth that create emanation, the emanation of God.
Hmm.
So it's that white light. That's why I made it that, because it's the light of it's the light. It's additional light. It's
Cody
the light.
Cody says it sounds kind of like the Upside Down in Stranger Things, and I had the same thought, but
Oh
I was like, I
yes.
wonder. But it is as above, so below, right? It is opposite. I don't remember those ever like evidence like the Upside Down existed. It's probably in Il's mind. Honestly, that'd be wild if it was. Then it'd be really like, yeah, the universe is mental, man. Check it out. But
Well, think about the Wizard of Oz also, because you have the different characters that are represented from the people in the real story, in real life. You have the different characters,
hmm,
but you have it all in an opposite type of view. Instead of just being your every regular day people, they were they were people with fallacies.
yeah,
The lion that was afraid, the Tin Man, they all had. Tin Man didn't have a heart. The whatever, one
what
didn't
was
have a
the
brain.
Scarecrow didn't have a
Scarecrow,
brain.
yeah,
Lion didn't.
Scarecrow didn't.
Hmm, interesting. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So, anyways, it's crazy what's actually out there in the movies that we just don't catch on to until we start reading other things. And the reality is, there's a lot of producers out there and writers that they study that craft.
Yeah, they do.
They're artists, so they study that kind of stuff and put it out there.
I think the Matrix had some influence also, but it's
Do what?
the Matrix.
Oh, the Matrix. Oh, when I saw Matrix, the very first one,
Hmm.
when I saw that for the first time back in like 1997 or 98, 99, whenever it came out, man, I had to stop after it was and looked around in the middle of the night, just sitting there looking around, just kind of,
Looking for the
wow.
like.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, it stopped me in my tracks. It was such a great movie the first time.
Yeah. Dennis says the first Matrix is the best, has lots of Coppola and Gnosticism. I agree. The other two became more about action, but the first one, I mean, it had action, but it was definitely. Well, it also had the rabbit, didn't it?
Do what?
It also had the rabbit. Follow the white rabbit in the Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. All right, let's wrap it up. This was good.
Man,
This was good. I've been out baking in
such
the
a.
sun, man. I'm ready to go lay down.
There you always have some kind of an excuse, millennial.
Yeah. Why do you have an excuse at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night to go to bed, loser? But yeah.
You're a teacher. You're not even working right now. Yeah, I'm calling you out.
I am teaching. I'm full time teaching my kids right now.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Dennis is like that kid who wants to stay up for 2 nights straight. Yeah. Yeah.
I am. I always. This is when I get my best work done. This is when it starts for me. When
Um,
everybody goes to sleep, and then there's the calm.
I just want to say, kind of as my final thoughts, and I think probably we talked about a lot of important things, but really my biggest takeaway, it's not my takeaway, but like the thing that I feel like I resonated the most with tonight is this whole, we talk about it a lot, but I think there's a reason we talk about it a lot, and that is the importance of slowing things down, slowing down the process, We have to take that back home with us to our lodges. It's not enough just to have these two random guys talking about how important this is twice a week. We we have to take these concepts back to our lodges and start educating our brothers on. And if we got long time viewers, like you've heard all of our reasoning, you've heard why we do it. We have videos about it. Watch it, educate yourself, and go back and start educating your lodges. I'm about to start pounding the same thing in my lodges. Like we have to start educating these guys on why the way we've always done things cannot continue. Why we have to start actually slowing down this petitioning process. Why we got to start getting these guys into the lodge. If you're an active member of your lodge, the EA degree is not the first time you should meet this guy. And so we got to start slowing this down. We got to start finding ways within the parameters of Grand Lodge law where we can start requiring more of these guys and slowing down these degree processes too, because there's no advantage to rushing it. There's no advantage at all. We have to be sure that we are being intentional in teaching these people the work, the meaning behind the work, getting them involved in the lodge, getting them to understand the culture of our lodge, how we do things in our lodge during this time. Because by the time they're Master Mason, they can vote and they can rock and roll. They can get in the office lineup, and so that's why we got to be slow and intentional with that period of time before they're a master. This is how we do things in the lodge, and it's not to say that things can't change, but understand that this is the culture, and these are the expectations that you need to uphold. The first time we see him is in the dining room to do his investigation right before the meeting where we're ballot on him. Exactly. That was Cody. And how can I ballot on somebody I met 5 minutes ago? Right? And you could say, well, you need to trust your investigation committee. Sure. But the responsibility lies on me as a Mason. Right? I'm not voting. I'm not saying I agree with the investigation committee. We vote to accept that report. Right? That's how I'm saying, okay, I accept what they say. I still have to vote my conscience. And so I need to actually know that person. So that's all I'm going to say about that. We have to start taking this back. We have to start educating our brothers at our lodges on the importance of slowing this whole thing down, because there's no benefit whatsoever to this rush.
Interesting. I'll take the as below. So the slowing down the process for the candidate, and I would like to speak on slowing down the process in the lodge. We always, we rush these guys through, but ultimately that's a lodge problem. The lodge has a culture of pushing guys through when that happens, and so we as a lodge need to slow down. Mm-hmm. And we need to slow ourselves down and learn to practice a couple of times before we put on a degree. Learn to slow down our ritual when we're doing it, opening and closing. Understand where we're at. We need to slow down and take a breath and learn what we're a part of, and we need to educate ourselves along the way. Mm. We can't just push people through uneducated to become Master Masons because we were.
My mom called me. Keep talking. I'm going to see what she needs real quick.
Oh, I can keep talking.
Oh, I know.
So the bottom line is that when we're rushing these people through the process of becoming a Master Mason, we're cheating them, but we're also cheating ourselves, because this is an experience for us as well. This is an opportunity for us as a lodge to know that individual and know who's going to be best matched to be a mentor to that person, and not necessarily their ritual teacher either. The person that teaches the work is just that. They teach the work. They're not always the one that's the deep thinker. And I love you, Cody. And I know that you do that. but there aren't many. Most of them are just regurgitating the work. So we should have other people in place in our lodges that are committed to that new brother, that are going to check up on him. And you know what? Maybe just the signers on his petition should be the ones that are doing that. So what we should do is we should figure out who's best suited to be the to be paired up with this guy based on interests and things like that. If he's a duck hunter, then whoever the duck hunter in the lodge is, maybe that's the guy that hangs out with him and visits with him and just keeps tabs on him and making sure that he's keeping up with his work and meeting his teacher regularly and doing that kind of stuff. We don't do that. We don't slow down and meet and really understand the candidate like we should. And that's a lodge problem. That's a culture problem. If we're pushing people through that quickly, then we don't have a real culture. We're just churning out numbers, or we're trying to save our lodge because we've, kicked our culture to the side years ago, or we don't even know what we are anymore. Because a lot of times we don't even revisit that. Everybody says, well, that's not how we've always done it. Well, every couple of years, if your lodge is consistently making Masons, then every couple of years you have a completely different culture in your lodge because you have a whole different set of individuals that have come into your lodge with different ideas and different thoughts. So when you once was a lodge that focused on fish fries and fundraisers and stuff like that, today you might be a lodge that should be focusing on book clubs and continuing Masonic education nights through Zoom or something like that. Because today you may have a whole different culture of brothers that are interested in something completely different. So we have to, as a lodge, slow down and understand who we are so that we can better relay that to the people that are coming in. And we need to also talk to these people and let them know, hey, you need to go check out these other lodges. Make sure that this is the lodge for you. And sometimes that's hard to do because sometimes we do have low membership. Some of my lodges have very low membership, and it's very hard to do. But we have to slow down and make sure that we're doing what's right for the candidate. So, Justin, basically what I was talking about is the changing of cultures over time, and we as a lodge have to keep up with that because it's if we don't, we're just churning members. We're not really bringing them in with an understanding of who they are and helping them understand who we are because we don't even know who we are anymore. We just keep saying, that's not how we've done it, or that's how we've always done it, or whatever. But every couple of years, if you are producing more Masons, then your culture is going to change. Mm-hmm. It's inevitable because Freemasonry is organic. It's free flowing. It's always changing, always moving. Mm-hmm. And no matter where you are in your journey, you're organic as well, and you're always changing. So where I was when I first joined, I was all about the fish fries and fellowship and stuff like that. Well, I still like fellowship, but it's under different terms now. It's not the same as it was back then. Back then, it was just going up to the lodge, doing fish fries and hanging out with the brothers, doing a pancake breakfast or whatever, hanging out. Today, that's not my gig. That's not what I enjoy. I enjoy going out and having a scotch and talking, going down a rabbit hole with my brothers instead. I don't want to have just a superficial relationship like I did when I first started. When I first started, I didn't know anybody very well. I didn't know myself very well until I really started digging into the work. And once I started understanding the lessons, I started understanding myself a little bit better and being able to define what I thought my Masonry should be. And now it's easier for me to help a young man that's coming in the door to define what his masonry is going to be. Not what mine is, what his is going to be. And make sure that his journey is going to meet the journey that's in his mind at that point. And later on, it's going to change because we're organic.
Mm-hmm.
But when they first come in, we need to know who they are so that we can help them along their path, and not just say, this is our path and you need to jump onto our train.
Agreed.
Because it's not that way. So we as a lodge need to define ourselves better, understand our membership better, and be the best Masons that we can be to support the younger brothers that are coming in.
Agreed.
Ultimately.
Awesome, man. That's good. Good job.
Thank you. Maybe you need to go listen back and really learn something.
Yeah, I do take notes. Very good.
Now with that being said, for us at Masonic Improvement, our culture is education. Our culture isn't just bitching about, what goes wrong in the lodges. Our culture is going out to the lodges and helping them to establish their cultures and help them and guide them in their new growth. That's our job in Masonic Improvement. And for you, the listener, that's your job as well. That's why we do this, is so that any brothers that are on here, if you really enjoy what we're saying, internalize it and take it to your lodge, because that's what this is all about. We need to be the change that we want to see.
Okay.
And on top of that, for all the brothers out there that really feel distraught in their lodge, then keep the faith. Keep staying. Keep listening to us and meeting people online like Cody Stewart and all the other, like Devin, and we have many other brothers that I didn't notice tonight that show up regularly. But we have many other brothers that you can meet online and get ideas from.
Mm-hmm.
Travel. It's your journey. It's not anybody else's. You have to take responsibility for your journey.
Travel and
read a book. Open a book. Two things.
Not at the same time.
Requires.
It's not at the same time.
I know. I try that a lot.
Well, I mean, an audiobook's okay, I guess.
Man, I'm bad. I came from Corpus to home. Make sure my wife's not listening. I came from Corpus to my house, which is an hour and 15 minutes. And I remember all of about 3 minutes of the road that I looked at. I swear. I don't know how I did it.
From listening?
No, from reading.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's not even in front of me like some of those people. It's like over here. I have a truck. Well, you've seen my truck. And then I have this big old stand that my phone is on, so I can look at it over to the side. The windshield is this way. And I'm sitting there reading. And finally I realized, I hadn't looked up in a while. So I look up.
That might fly in South Texas where there's nobody else within like a 100-mile radius, but we can't ever do that here in Metroplex. I'm just saying.
Well, and that's fair. That's fair, because there's really, when I'm on my way home from anywhere, there's not a lot of traffic because I travel extensively.
Yikes! So lesson really is never ride with Dennis.
Well, if I'm riding with you, I'm probably going to talk with you.
Yeah.
But when I'm alone, I'm reading. It's so bad. I'm glad I don't have a big Kindle or something. Then I wouldn't be able to see the road over there.
Man. All right, everybody.
So what do you have coming up?
What do I have coming up?
Yeah, before we close this out.
Locally, I have a York Rite meeting tomorrow night. I'm going to later in the month, I'm going to the District 14 MWSA on the 26th, I believe.
On the 26th, I'll be there.
And I haven't bought tickets yet, but I'm making plans to go to.
So will Robert Park. He is the keynote speaker at the District 14 MWSA meeting this month.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I'm going. I want to hear Robert. The guy's a
Well,
legend.
everybody out there, Dallas, you know where to be.
Yep.
MWSA
If you're in,
26.
where's it going to be at?
I don't know. I need to find out from Dave.
Yeah. Let me
Brother
know.
Bendel, he's the president right now, and I'll find out and I'll make sure and tell you next week.
Yep. Then later in the month, I'll probably go to Sol Ross's festive board. They've been doing every year. That'll be good.
I bought tickets. I donated mine to somebody because I have. That's the same night as my centennial celebration for the Scottish Rite, so I have to be there.
Understandable.
Park did the same thing. We were gonna both go, and we realized, oh crap, we have our Chiro de Hoyos coming.
Well, you supported them, if nothing else.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And so I just donated my ticket to somebody. I don't know who it was. Adam Olivier. He found somebody that would enjoy going, and so I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, and of course, this Saturday is the big forum at Arlington. So
Sure is.
it sure
is. That's where you ought to be if you're in North Texas. If you're in South Texas, you ought to be at the San Antonio Scottish Rite because we have our reunion this coming weekend.
Well,
Thursday we're giving out.
But anyone that can definitely should. I don't remember what it is, but I have something on that calendar, and I think my wife put it there for that Saturday. So I'm not gonna change it.
Speaking of, it's my anniversary on Friday.
Really?
Yes.
Your anniversary is June 14th?
Yeah.
That's easy to remember. Does she know?
Believe me, she knows.
So
Believe me, she knows.
Y'all's anniversary is my birthday. It's easy to remember now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Nizzle.
Shanizzle.
Shanizzle.
The big 4-1. All right, everybody.
You didn't let me say what all I got going on.
I thought you did. Go ahead.
I just said the reunion.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought maybe when I was out you did all that. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was talking about Masonry and what we need to do in the lodge to support our brothers.
What do you have going on, Brother Yates?
On the 14th, we're giving out our scholarships down at Oso Naval Lodge. And not the 14th, no, on Thursday, we're doing that.
You have a busy anniversary.
I know, right? And what's cool is this is the first year we started a Rebecca Underwood scholarship, and it's a little bit different. It's going to be mainly for people that are already in school, already in college, and maybe a teacher or something that's working on their doctorate or their master's or whatever, something to help them out. But this year, it's going to a JROTC kid, young man, who he won second place in the nation for the Brain Brawl, which is one of those competitions where they, like you see on TV, where they ask the question and they hit the button as far as who's going to answer. But he got second place in the nation. It's pretty impressive. So he's going to get that one this year.
Wow. And
then the following week we have our elections on Tuesday. Nice. And then Robert Park and I are going to we are both speakers at the New Mexico Masonicon on the 22nd. And so we'll be going up there that weekend. And then shooting over to Dallas on the 26th for the MWSA, and then the following weekend, I'm going down to Gray Lodge and giving a little bit of a presentation to everyone there. I was asked by the incoming worshipful master if I would give a talk on Masonry and what it is, what it isn't, kind of thing, just a short one. And because he grew up Catholic, and
Interesting.
all of his friends that are coming to see this are very Catholic. And so he wanted me to give a presentation to try to help them understand what he's a part of, and try to bridge the gap. Which, man, I'm extremely honored to get that opportunity. But I'm at the same time, that's a lot of pressure, because that can be a tough group. And I know because my mother-in-law is very Catholic.
Hmm.
So though she loves me now, she actually told me to. But it took a minute.
Man.
But then, so at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to Houston to do that, and then going straight to San Antonio for the centennial celebration. And then if we get done early enough at the centennial, if I think it's boring enough, then I'm going to leave and go over to Sol Ross and have drinks with the brothers afterwards over at College Station.
So to keep you busy, man.
That's going to be, yeah,
Nice.
that's what it is. That's what it is. So
Awesome.
that's just this month.
Yeah. But July is actually looking slow, and I'm kind of hoping I need a slow month to catch up on some things. So we'll see.
Man,
We'll see.
what are you
I
talking
know.
about?
I
Catch
know.
up on some
I'm
things.
soft. What can I say?
I'm already booked through July too, but I'm not going to tell you until we get closer.
Okay. All right, man.
But anyways, also, brothers, if you like us, subscribe. If you love us, become a member. The inner circle. In fact, we need to do that on Wednesday. Um, do an inner circle only meeting, and talk with our brothers in the inner circle, and see how their lives are going and what they're doing and all that kind of stuff, and talk about what's interesting to them.
That'll be good to do. I haven't done that
Yeah,
in a while.
it's been a while, so we need to do that. So if you love us, become a member. If you like us, subscribe, and nonetheless, watch our videos. The one that we posted with Robert Park had 14,000 views, or 1,400 views the last time I looked.
I think it's 1,600 now. It's
It
still
may
rocking.
be. Man, he's got a great presentation, and
Yeah.
our talk was just really awesome. And that's why it's my favorite. It's definitely why
We
it's
need
my
to get them
favorite.
back.
Yes, definitely. We can do that.
Yeah,
But
please.
otherwise, if you guys feel like you're out on an island that you feel kind of like you can't get anywhere with your lodge, then just stick with us. Stick with us. We'll help you get there, and then travel. And if you need to know where to travel to, let us know.
Hmm.
We're happy to help. In fact, I had a brother that wanted to find the most esoteric lodge in Houston that contacted me. Um, I can give you that information. I just forgot. I've been so busy. I forgot to reply. But if you feel like you're on that island, let us know. We've been
But
there before. That's why we do what we do, because we don't want you falling through the cracks. Every brother matters, and we need to remember that. And
absolutely.
this is how we do our outreach to our brothers, is right here.
Love it.
So we love you. Thank you for watching, and keep it between the points.